Hey guys, what's happening? Another video. This one's a bit overdue. I was supposed to do this video some time ago. I covered the Game Boy Kiosk as far as the what makes it work, like the demo vision, the black and white monitor, and how it was all assembled in there. But as you can see, it's completely empty right now, and I've taken it completely apart. I recently acquired a Space Invaders slot machine. I got a really good deal on it, so I couldn't pass it up. I've also got a PVM monitor recently, a 13-inch Sony PVM, and then a few other signs here and there. I got those Labo games for 20 bucks on clearance at GameStop, which is a sweet deal. But regardless, when I was putting the slot machine in, I turned on the Gameboy Kiosk and it turned on just fine as normal. But then a few minutes later, I turned around, the monitor was off, and I could never get the monitor turned back on again. Took it apart, confirmed that the demo vision was working fine, and it was just a TV not turning on. So that prompted me to do this video about the entire demo kiosk, more in depth, covering the board, the Game Boy, how everything is wired up, for reference for those in the future that might run across an issue with these things. Now, the TV, just to be aware, I have fixed it now. It is working, but I will go over how I made it work and what I did to make it work. So let's go over that. Now let's start with the issue with the TV. What went wrong? Now there's the flyback there. That's called the flyback right there, and that sends high voltage inside there. Now if you want to release that energy, what you do is you normally grab a screwdriver with a wire, with a ground wire, and then you can discharge them. Now I didn't touch that because I noticed there was no issues. Quite honestly, this monitor is very clean. I didn't notice any issues with anything that looked kind of out of the ordinary, like, you know, maybe a burnt MOSFET, because there is a MOSFET up here, a capacitor that might have blown. You know, I didn't smell anything. It just stopped turning on. But it did have two fuses there. As you can see in the bottom, there's two, one up there and one there. So with my limited knowledge of working on electronics, because I am definitely not a pro at this, I am definitely not someone that would say you've worked on CRTs. I mean, I've worked on the pinball machines, and I've done a lot and realized how to work on them fairly well. The Shack Attack, for example, the Shack Attack is no more. I actually sold that and made a good money off of it, fixing it, and sold it to some guy. And I was gonna keep it, but eventually I decided I needed to sell it. There's no space for it, and besides, I was into some other pinballs that I might be getting down the future. So what you're gonna need is very easily just get, I bought this for like, I can't remember, like $20, $30 for when I was working on my pinball machines. But you want to get a multimeter that can test continuity. As you can see there, there's a diode test, that's what that stands for, and then that little Wi-Fi thing, that is for continuity. So right now you just hit the button there, it's on. Right now it's on diode test. You hit the button again, now you're in continuity. And the way you know it's in continuity is because it'll beep when these two contacts are touching here. That tells you that the current is traveling from one to the other. So all I did was I went for the most obvious thing. I went, let's find out if if one of the fuses is bad, and sure enough, you can see here, I'll touch one. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. There's one. Sure enough, no beeping. It's supposed to beep, no beep. So immediately I took it off, and you can see that it's blown. I mean, you can visibly see. You can take, if you don't have a multimeter, you can just take it off and double check, and it's blown. Now the fuses that we're using this are actually very difficult to find. It's it's a 5MF 2A 250 volt fuse. Now I realize there's a company out in Australia that you can get these fuses from, and they're actually quite difficult to get. It takes a while to come to the States. Now apparently 5MF, that stands for can stand high temperatures or something like that. So there's different rules that govern the fuses from my understanding. But I ended up finding that the GMA fuse would work on this thing. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, the same size, rated the same amperage. So it's a 2 amp, 250 volt fuse. And the only difference is the GMA as opposed to the 5MF. Now I have ordered some 5MFs to replace down the road, but they will be a month, maybe longer for them to get here from Australia. So good luck if I ever get those anytime soon. I bought these really cheap on Amazon. They're easily, readily available. Stuck this in there, turned it on, and it worked just fine. I mean, it's rated for the same. There's no reason to worry. I mean, if anything, it will blow the fuse, and you don't have to worry about this being the problem. What most likely happened is because I have this connected to a wall strip, it probably just had a voltage spike and it blew the fuse. If later on down the road this happens again, then I know there might be another issue, like with the diode or something, but for the most part, this is perfect. Now, we're gonna go over the actual DemoVision board. This is it's one board. Now, there's some that came with 2 boards, and then you could do game link through the boards, which is pretty cool. This is the tuner side of it. There's a board in there. Seems like it's all sealed up. There is a capacitor there, so if I ever need to replace a capacitor, there's one there. Everything else is just pretty much chips. Those up there are the RAM chips for Sharp. I know that because they're the same type of RAM chips that were on the Gottlieb systems as well. Now there are 2 ROM chips there that are socketed. There is a U32 DVR CHR revision A. Now I believe it's probably developer revision A. That's probably what the DV stands for. Now there is also a Nintendo MMC5 chip there, which I think is in the NES. I'm not sure. I don't have an NES to take apart and confirm that. I sold that off and just kept the mini, so I can't confirm that, but I think so. There it says DemoVision Revision B, so I wonder if there was a Revision A. I've never seen that. Now this is the developer program Revision B U47 ROM chip. So that's pretty interesting. Wonder if there's a way to maybe down the road somebody can figure out how to reproduce this. Pretty interesting board, very clean PCB. Really cool that this will, output to a screen. Now I did take apart the actual Game Boy to go over how this is all set up. So this is the actual wire. Now this is the front of the PCB, and this is how it really was. They just put tape over this, and they really ran leads and soldered wires to the actual PCB there, as you can see. Pretty interesting design that they went with. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wires, and they're all kind of just mangled in there, and that's how they did it. It was really pretty much a hack job. But that's pretty much the whole gist of it. If I remove those soldered wires and close it all up, it's back to being a normal Game Boy. So in essence, if you need to replace, if your Game Boy goes bad or the screen, or you just want to put a different kind of Game Boy in there, you can take the PCB apart and change the shell out and make it look nicer. Or if the PCB ever dies, you can replace it. Just make sure you solder the points to where they're supposed to go, and you've restored it. Now I did have 22-in-1 Pokemon Game Boy game in there that I got. When you're out there hunting, sometimes you find these random things, and I thought this was pretty cool because it has all the Game Boy games. So that's pretty cool. But regardless, that's pretty much it. That's just the power supply side there. But oh yeah, there's one more thing. It does have the wires here to power 2 of these demo boards. Only one's being used on here, but there's the wire set up for 2. And that pretty much covers it. I'll show you it back together and working just to confirm that everything's good to go. So be back shortly. All right, she's back together. Now let's do a quick test. Everything is wired up. And she's back up and running, guys. She is good to go. Clear image, no issues. And I can select my game. Let me see if I hit the reset image button. There it is. So everything is back good working. Well guys, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed and got more insight on how the GB kiosk works. Have a good one.